Tom?
Here.
Steve?
Here.
Rod?
Here. Comments from the visitors? Yes, George,
Do I have to go up there?
please.
I'm gonna bleed all over.
I guess for the night, stay where you're at.
Good thinking. Okay, a couple of things I got. Do those microphones work that they get out there?
They do.
Are they on?
I did not, George. Thank you. Yes.
And I'll tell you the reason why I say that, because my, I'm sure you all know my hearing is shit. And last month, or the last meeting that we had here, you guys appointed a replacement for supervisor. I didn't even know that you did it, for Christ's sake. Because everybody else, Bauer, you mumble into your hand all the time. You, I don't know about. Tom, you ain't too bad. You, I hear. You, not good. I mean, Christ almighty. And I'm not the only one that is hard of hearing. And don't come along with this bullshit about getting hearing aids, because I got them. Okay? So just so you know. And from now on, and I'm telling you right now, if you don't talk loud enough so I hear what the hell you're talking about, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna ask, repeat please. Because you're just, I guess I'm considered handicapped, I don't know.
You're handicapped.
Okay, now another thing, oh yeah, by the way, the topic is all things with no. The other thing is, did you get that, a paper from the Towns Association about the community picnic that you had told you were going to?
Mm-hmm.
Did you give it to Dorothy?
Well, actually, John, that's the one that you got the whole thing. I got it back. It was what I had told Dorothy, and I got that copy. But then John went to the Towns Association and has the full thing. Did that go to Dorothy?
I didn't know anyone wanted it. I can send it to people that want it.
You know, it'd be nice if the left hand knew what the hell the right hand was doing. I mean, you guys are so vague on everything. I mean, Christ almighty. You know, you were sitting here last time, and now the topic of conversation, and you come along with this bullshit about that the Town Association says that was illegal at picnic. The bottom line is, do like Patty did and like my wife did, you call the state auditor and they'll set you straight on that. Okay, you're new on that. I don't know, you probably don't know nothing about this. Ask one of them, they'll probably fill you in. So anyhow, those things, it would be nice to see that paper. Oh yeah, about all I got left is, oh I know. Remember you said that the electors have to okay something like the picnic?
Yes.
What about the Brock Fry they have over here? Did the electors okay that? Does that have to be okayed? Stumped?
That's a fundraiser.
So,
Yeah, the picnic isn't a fundraiser.
the picnic would be a step above the fundraiser. They're not charging for anything.
No, the fire department has the ability to have fundraisers.
I don't buy into that one, but I mean, I really don't care one way or the other, so it's just a point of contention that I
Every little
have.
bit helps
You know,
to go towards whatever.
huh?
Every little bit helps so that you can raise, even if it's only $200, to go toward equipment or repairs or whatever. That's why they do it.
Okay, whatever you say. My open record request from last time, did you have that for me? Did you send it electronically?
I don't have it
Were we
completed.
waiting for better weather?
I don't have it completed yet.
Well, Carolyn said that it was all done.
It's been a couple months. Yeah, that's what you said. You said that everything was in. You got it. So there's silence.
No, I answered your question. I haven't completed it yet.
So when can I expect this?
When
I ain't
have-
getting no younger.
That's fine. I will get it to you when I have time.
When you have time.
Yes.
Wonderful. That's just.
John, you better follow open records request.
There's a
limit.
time limit on
There is not.
Yes, there is.
Okay, feel free to give me the citation. But
I'll
there's
look it
not
up
a-
for you.
Okay.
I can give you an oral report. The for the Fall Fest, there was almost $35,000 in donations. The expenditures were 19,000. So the bottom line was that we made $15,000 for Fall
So it's about
Fest.
par for the course for other years then, right, roughly?
Well, it's
Good
actually a little more than, I mean, years back, they made a lot more than that.
Yeah.
But now, the last few years, it's been 10, 12, something like that.
I think
So
last
I
year-
felt, we felt that it was really good.
Okay, my last thing that I got, and then I'm done, I know I'm over my 3 minutes. I thought you were gonna have cops here tonight. Remember last meeting, you said that you could get cops here because I'm unruly?
I didn't say any such thing.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? Did you?
No, I didn't.
She
Remember you
said,
asked me? You
she
said I
said
just
she
not
did.
here.
She said she did do that already, yes. She
Did
didn't
do
say
what?
she was
Call
going to.
cops?
Yeah. We've had police officers here during meetings, yes, we have, and that's what you said. It can be done, and we have done it. in
I
the
haven't
past.
done it, I've not had them here.
But she didn't say she was going to. George.
I didn't say I was going to.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a law that, and that's what, the Wisconsin towns, again, which you say you don't believe in, they do quote the laws, and it says that if people get unruly,
What is unruly? You opened up a big can of worms there,
well, no,
my
it's
dear
bad.
woman.
You know what unruly means? It means if you talk out of line and.
What's out of line?
Well,
If
something.
it's something that you're not gonna
personally.
like, the board ain't gonna like, that's
No.
out of line?
When it becomes
Ah,
personal
shit.
and what have you, then you can call. If it's a disturbance within the meeting, we have the right here, being elected people, to run a good meeting without a lot of interruption and what have you.
I got news for you. It's the comment section. You might not like my comments.
Well, that's, yeah, but if you're not, but we don't have to take abuse. We don't have to take abuse.
When did I abuse you? I tell it like it is, okay? I have caught Bauer in lies before, and I told him flat ass out in front of God and everyone that he was lying.
This
I
is
would tell
exactly what I'm
anybody.
talking about.
Huh?
This is exactly what I'm talking about. When we have comments, it's meant to be, you can give criticism, whatever, but do it in a nice manner. But what you're supposed to do with comments is supposed to be something good for the good of the community.
Well, why don't you guys try that? For the good of the residents, instead of doing this cronyism thing. There's another comment. And I suppose that's unruly too. Okay, I'm done, go ahead.
Is there anyone else who has comments from the audience?
If there is, don't be unruly.
Yes.
It's very short, I don't have to get up, I'll stand up. I have 2 requests. One, that we all treat each other with respect. We speak in a respectful manner. Part of unruly is the tone of the voice. It's not even necessarily the words, it's the tone and how people take it. My second request is, can we have a town newsletter sent out in ample time before the April election where each of the candidates can tell us what's important to them, what's their agenda, so we know.
Can't do that. You cannot campaign in a newsletter. No,
Campaign, it's what you stand for.
You
I've
can't
seen
do
it
that.
before.
no, you can't do that.
Well, then how do you even know
Yeah,
who you're?
well, all we're allowed to do is put who is on the ballot.
That's all, yeah.
And
that's
urge
it.
people to vote, but you can't.
Can't stump for them.
No. That's something that's a law, you can't do it.
Oh, well, it makes it hard for people to know who to vote for when you don't even, that's why I asked I know now I can put a face to Russ Bowmansberger. It doesn't mean I know that he wants to fix the roads or he wants to whatever, just saying. If it's against the rules, it's against the rules, but it sure would be helpful.
Hey, can I reply to that? She said something about the tone of voice or whatever the hell she said. Okay, keep in mind that people that are hard of hearing have a tendency to talk a hell of a lot louder. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but it's fact. You probably know that from your husband.
Yeah,
What can I say?
and me,
Yeah,
and me,
you're hard of hearing too?
yeah.
I really.
So speak up, George.
I got no problem speaking on.
Anyone else? Great. Motion to approve the board minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the town board meeting minutes of December 12th.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second for the December 12th minutes for approval. Any discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye. Those against, say nay. Minutes approved. Need a motion for the December 29th minutes?
Make a motion to accept the December 29th, 2022 minutes.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second for the town board meeting minutes for December 29th, 2022. Any further discussion? Since there is none, let's vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Minutes approved. Plan Commission, Dorothy?
We had no meeting this month.
Garbage fee?
Just in the handout that was provided for the garbage and recycling report, the meeting's gonna be held on the 30th. I got an email response back from Debbie on that.
Okay.
And as I noted in the report there, if you have any concerns and the recommendations too, if you see a better way to do something, just let me know. Email address is there and my phone contact information is there too.
Library again?
Library, nothing to report. The library this time, website is, John's actually got the townofmcmillan.gov website is operational, and the townofmcmillan.com website is redirecting to that website. And I've gone through it, but if somebody sees, something that they want to see on there, if there's something that's not working correctly, just let us know, and we'll do our best to get that fixed in a timely manner. That's all I have.
Buildings and grounds, Mrs. Opitz?
Yes, we have concluded the rentals. The ones that we have found are the ones when I took over. I don't know. I know that there were a couple of people that did rent in January of last year. But I can't find any record of that. So anyway, we had 23 rentals, and I bet that we have 6 or 8 already rentals for this year in 23.
When do they start?
January 1st.
Okay.
So is when we'll have our first rental. We kept all the, when they made their reservations, we told them that we would not cash their checks until the end of the year. And so, until the first of the year, for 23. So we will have to move some money.
So we're gonna keep the heat on them, there's rentals.
There's actually 3 this month, January. So, and I had to turn away a couple already that have already been reserved, so. Heating and air conditioning is a wonderful thing in our pavilion. And so as long as we'll now be able to know by the end of the year what at least from April till the end of the year, how much money it cost us. You put in extra insulation in the ceiling. Hank Zimmerman came in and did caulking and did more things in there. So we're hoping, and we're keeping it right at anywhere 57. So we'll see what happens. And Tom did, help me out with the shoveling. And, Pat now knows that he has to keep the parking lot clean. So, that's about it.
Did you say you do the shoveling? Is that what I heard or no?
Well, I have done some.
Why
I
doesn't
did
Michael do
some, I did some, but Tom helped me
it?
with
I
it.
understand that, why ain't Weigel doing it?
What?
Why doesn't Weigel do it?
That's, he just doesn't do that.
A lot of the time too with this, he's already spent 8 hours in the truck driving around salting and pushing back snow and stuff. So at this time, he hasn't had time, because I've gone up there once too and shoveled also. It's just, right now, it's not fitting into being able to do it, because you need it done in a timely manner for your rentals, so we're just trying to handle it for it.
Well, if he's driving around for 8 hours, that'd be good exercise for him, loosen up.
Most of the time, the rentals are for the weekend, and then so, and he's off on Friday, so it kinda, and you wanna keep it clean and ice-free if you can, up until the minute they walk in the
Well,
door.
I'm not trying to be a smart ass, but I'll tell you what, I don't know how old you are, but you shouldn't be shoveling snow.
I agree, George, and that's why I said I'd do it for her.
That's really
I
nice.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
I've been telling everybody that you hit me in the nose too.
Carolyn?
Yes,
Did you say the thermostat is kept at 57?
57. Uh-huh.
Does anybody else think that's kind of warm? I do.
No,
No?
You got water pipes.
not with the wood in there. I think it's actually a little low. I would keep it at 60, but it's amazing how much that wood moves with moisture, that temperature range. There's a lot of wood in there. I've been in and done a lot of repairs on places that have kept it colder than that. And they turn the heat up and that wood just expands and comes loose.
Also with the rentals, if you put it too low, you know, like, you're gonna have it freeze up. But it also takes forever to get it warm. And then you have to run it the whole day, full speed. So it seems to be working well right now. It recovers quickly at that temperature, so.
Okay.
Tom, I just want to mention again that as residents, please do not push your snow across the road. Keep it on your side of the road, on either side of your driveway. It is against the law to actually push your snow across the road. Yes, it is. I've got all the state ordinances right here if you want to look them up. You cannot push your snow across the road. And please don't do it. That's all I have.
Fire department.
As of our last meeting, we had 1 fire call, 2 carbon monoxide calls, 3 EMS calls, 2 down power lines, 3 canceled en route, and 2 mutual aids. The officers are currently interviewing candidates for members. Adam Knapp was elected the assistant chief of the fire department. Training this month will be on multi-gas meters and SCBA's. Our Mavis cards are completed and up to date for the next year. EMS-wise, the fire department is all CPR certified, and we'll be purchasing the Lucas and the AEDs with the Flex grant, and our training is to be determined for EMS yet. So I see they have AED and Lucas right after this. I have the numbers to purchase it. We were granted $25,240. I can get a Lucas device and 2 AEDs with that $25,000. And I'm ready to purchase them. But I was informed tonight that I have to post it for bids.
Not for services. Oh, no, it's not considered a service, I guess, is it? I don't know. You need to check. You need to check. Because for services, You don't have to put it out for bid, you're better, because then you are always, and that was something that the,
So state statute, public contract means a contract for the construction, execution, repair, remodeling, and improvement of any public work or building, or the furnishing of materials or supplies with an estimated cost greater than $5,000. This does not meet any of those criteria to put out for bids.
It's equipment, isn't it?
If it's just equipment, you don't need to bid it out, you can just have the board vote to buy it from whoever they like to buy at a properly noticed board meeting. So they can move to buy
And
it
this
now.
is equipment.
And this is off of a prior email that I sent to the Wisconsin Town Association.
So I guess I'm looking for a motion to approve the purchase.
so we need a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the Lucas and AED.
I'm gonna get 2 AEDs with it.
2 AEDs. How much are they each now?
They are. AEDs are $2,922.08 a piece.
And the Lucas, you wanna explain that?
Lucas device, what it is, it's another piece of equipment that we can put on the person's chest to help us do CPR. So we're not wearing everybody out doing compressions. This is a machine that we can set it and it'll automatically do the compressions for us. So we can concentrate on breathing and other aspects of the whole thing that we need to take care of. Because if there's just 2 of us on a scene and we keep switching every 6 cycles, like they say, every 2 minutes, we get tired really fast. And this is just gonna help us be more efficient at what we're doing.
How much is that, Lori?
It is $19,516.84.
I'm gonna repeat that, 19 what?
$19,516.84.
John, I'll second that.
Thanks.
You're only getting one of those. correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Just one. That's enough money to get to.
Okay,
Board have any further discussion on this?
No.
I will be abstaining from this one.
okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? I abstain, John.
And I did get notification today that a 2022 AFG grant opened today. I have 30 days to fill it out, so John, if you could help me with the FEMA.gov stuff, that would be awesome. And that's gonna be for the air compressor.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How many, have you ever counted up how many radios you have over there? I remember a couple months ago, you got the okay to order 2 radios, 2 pagers for $6,000, and then I asked you how many radios you had, you didn't have a clue. Did anybody go and count?
No, I did not.
Just kind of curious.
Because we have
Kind of nice to know.
Because we have some radios we have to phase out because they're older, and they're not, they don't work with the current system.
You have no idea how many, but you know, like 10, 20, 30, 100, 400?
We don't have 400.
I don't know.
I'd say about probably
Just asking.
20, maybe, I don't know, I haven't counted.
Okay, so, and then on these radios, what, each fireman take one home with them? Is that how that works?
If you're off of your one-year probation, yes, and if you're part of the EMS group, yes.
Okay.
Because then that way you can radio to dispatch that you're leaving from your house directly to scene.
Okay. Thanks.
John, your report, please.
So for correspondence, we received a letter from the Marathon County Conservation Planning and Zoning, that's included in the packet, so there's, like they said when they were here, there's an open house for towns, looks like that's on January 19th, you know, some other dates there. So, if you're interested in that, stay tuned to them. I received a complaint on the town Facebook page about Man Road. I told her that I would bring her complaint forward and just kind of summarize it. So basically, it's the same stuff that everyone's saying. The road is in bad shape. It has high traffic. There's not enough room on the shoulders when people are walking or biking. And lanes would be helpful, or lines on the road would be helpful in like foggy conditions and stuff. And then the last thing that I wanted to bring to your attention is that we switched from Frontier telephone service into the Microsoft Teams telephone service. So that's attached to the clerk@townofmcmillan.gov email address. So we're going to be realizing some cost savings there. I think, if I remember right, the Teams was like $10 a month. Frontier was closer to $30 a month for the telephone. I also complained to them about the high cost of internet, and they responded by lowering the bill by $40 per month. So that's nice.
Good job.
One thing that I want to get some feedback from you guys is, do you want an auto attendant on the phone? So right now, when the phone, somebody dials 715-389-1338, it rings my cell phone. It can go onto any cell phone. It's just an app. You just put it on there and it'll ring. And that was part of the discussion last time about the benefits of this. So now, if the internet goes out here, like it did, whatever, when Dorothy's internet was out, like, I can just turn off the Wi-Fi or get it through the cellular data, and I can still receive calls. So the auto attendant, so right now when people call, it just rings and I answer and say, hello, can I help you? Auto attendant would be like, kind of like a voicemail thing where it says, hello, thank you for calling McMillan. Do you want to talk to the clerk? Press 1. Do you want to talk to the garbage supervisor? Press 2. And then we can program the numbers in there so it'll automatically call Steve for garbage or Carolyn for parks. So if that's something that you want set up, I can set it up or figure out how to set it up or contract with somebody to get it set up. I don't believe it's very difficult, and then we can change it, you know, if people change or whatever, or, you know, like, we can probably turn it on, turn it off, whatever, stuff like that. So if that's something that you want, I will get working on that. If that's not something that you want, currently I'm just like, so like I've had a couple of calls for the treasurer, so I just say, I'm not the right person to talk to, here's the treasurer's telephone number. So, I don't know if it's good or bad, you know, like, if I did that, I would try and make it as quick as possible, because people don't like sitting through that thing, you know. 'Cause a lot
Right,
of
the
times
short
it's-
version would be the best.
Yeah, so I would try and make it succinct, but,
But I think it would be beneficial, because then you don't get all the calls. I mean, if they're trying to get hold of me, there's no reason for them to call you, and then try to go through it.
yeah.
And then they don't have to hang up, and then I'll redial my number, it'll automatically send them through. I think it'd be a good idea to try it. If it doesn't work, then
Is there a fee on it, John?
No, that's included. I think that, so, the stuff about the Frontier was they were charging a fee to like forward the telephone line. That doesn't make any sense to me. And then sometimes it wasn't working, and it was a mess. So, I've had a number of calls on this one. I've even turned forwarding on this one, which is free. It works out fine. So, like, if I were to be gone for an extended amount of time or something like that, I could have somebody to forward the calls to, and then people could still get service from the clerk's telephone number. So I will work on setting up the auto attendant, and then we'll give it a shot.
You do get a lot of the pavilion, you get all of them.
Yeah, and so
And
like,
that's a lot.
one of the things that I want to work with you, Carolyn, over the next year is to have it so that you and I both are kind of doing that, so that I can see if the pavilion is rented, then I can just tell them, oh, sorry, it's already rented that day.
Google Calendar would work if you both had it.
Yeah, so we'll figure out something to do with that.
Or even on the website.
Yeah, another thing that I'd like to deploy is people being able to reserve it on the website. That form would come to me, I would put it into the calendar, and then you and I still have shared access to that calendar, so then if you take a call at 2 o'clock the next day, you go on Google Calendar or whatever, or the Microsoft Calendar maybe, and say, oh, that's already rented, you know, pick a different day. So I have some ideas about that, but we'll,
As long as you set it up.
yep,
okay?
I will. I'll get it all up and running, and then,
Okay.
I think it'll work out good, so I've got some ideas for that, but I'll get the auto attendant set up, as soon as I can. And that's the end of my notifications and correspondence. The checks to approve is, maybe I'll try and see if I can figure out how to put page numbers on these PDFs when I create them. Maybe about halfway through the packet is the checklisting. If you have any questions about those. You've got a number of electronic payments, those are, a lot of those are just like, get recorded during the reconciliation process.
I have a question, Becker appraisal, is that CJ for our township?
Yes,
Why are we paying him now?
because he sent me an invoice.
Did
And
he
that's,
get paid last year?
Yep.
Usually he gets paid right after board of review.
oh, he got paid last year about the same time.
Okay, just curious.
I'll make a motion to approve the checks 19287 through 19301 and the electronic transfers 20221203 through 20221209.
Second that.
I do have one question.
Sure.
If we have a motion second, we can discuss here. Donna, you said you need a couple of checks approved, but don't know the exact numbers because it's going to the school board. Is this when we want to do that, or?
If you want to, we can do that right now. As I collect taxes, the checks are due to the people that get checks, the 5 schools plus the county, the state doesn't get any. So they're due the 17th, which means that John and I should write them soon here, so I can hold them till like the 14th and drop them in the mail or whatever. So probably this week yet we'll write them. But it's still open to see what comes in the mail, postmarks. I have someone in Hawaii, and she used to always send a date, we get it a little 11th hour, you know, but it has to be included, otherwise all the numbers have to be redone when it comes to the county. And then we have to send additional checks for a few pennies or whatever. So we try to hold it open as long as we can for anything that's been postmarked. And then there's a formula that we figure out. I've collected about half, almost exactly half of all taxes. So we use the formula to figure out who gets how much. So right now you could figure that whatever they're supposed to get, the county gets $1 million, the school board gets over $1 million, so they'll get half of that out of the taxes we've already collected. We write those first checks. When it comes to February settlement, that's done a little differently, and we don't have to write those checks unless that's changed, but I don't believe we do. So, and I don't have those numbers exactly, except I do have the number of what I've collected on here into the savings account, the tax savings account and everything. That's what I've collected so far. I have some monies already for January, but they don't get included in that. It's everything that happened in December. So, what I'd like is approval for the next 5 checks that he has, 6 checks that he will have. He'll be approved to write those. We'll send you a total was collected and the formula in how we calculated those and what each check will be. So that'll be for the 3 schools, the 2 techs, and the county. Otherwise, you can't wait. They have to have them. It's not like we can wait till the next board meeting. It's like, get them, this is the January settlement.
Do we have to redo the motion? Or just approve this one and do a separate motion?
Just do a separate one.
Okay.
Have a motion.
Does everybody understand what the process is?
I have a motion and a second to approve the checks as presented. Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. Checks approved.
So then,
The next
I'll
one.
make a motion to approve 6 checks for the tax payments to the
Settlement.
settlement to the 3 schools, would be 2 techs and the county. The next 6 sequential checks.
Oh, I'm sorry, 19302 through,
19302.
7.
Okay.
Mm.
What Jen said.
Yeah. I'll second it.
With motion and second to approve the next 6 checks to go to the school board and the county. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. Okay. You got your checks done.
Thank you.
Who was the second on that one? I'm sorry.
Carol.
Carol. Let's see, so the budget to actual is in there through the end of the calendar year. There's nothing in there for January because there's only been 9 days, and to be honest, I haven't put the budget into the accounting system, so, that's that. There shouldn't be that much of a change from the last meeting, in December.
Is there any questions from the board or anything on that? Okay. Done? The treasurer's
Bank
report?
reconciliation you have in front of you. So at the end of the year, you see what you have for a balance of 410,953.96. Which ties into the next one is the funds transfer. We did the bills for the Fall Fest, that was done in December. That got transferred. This time it'll be for the parks. And we were able to confirm 23 rentals for last year. We don't know if the money was put in December. We couldn't figure out where the money for the rentals from January 1 through first credit would go. So we don't know. We're assuming that they put them in the prior year, so that we wouldn't be able to do anything about that. Those funds and everything that's closed. So so $2,300 needs to be transferred to the park savings with $100 for each of the rentals.
I thought that Tanya had did some of that in the summer, didn't she, where she did those transfers?
It's the only thing that's, no, we didn't find any. Did you find any?
So while Carolyn was giving her report, I looked through here, all the bank statements for the calendar year of '22. There was one transfer, from the tax account into the park fund in March for $3,600. And then in July, there was an $800 transfer from the main to the park. So that's probably the one that you're talking about, Deb.
$800 of that was doing, do we have their, is there
800.
names attached to that or anything like that, so we know who they are?
No.
There would have been a motion, it would be in the
So
minutes.
there's nothing to confirm that, so we can wait till next month if you wish, we can try to see what that was. I was not made aware of that, if there
Yeah,
was
I'm
a
sorry,
transfer.
I just found out about that just
Okay.
now.
I don't know what 3,600 was, I wouldn't have a clue. I don't even know what the 800 is, but we can find out if that was a part. I don't know why you should do part and part and part, we've never done that. But I
Well,
don't know
we
what
can
they
make a
were.
motion to transfer the 2,300 that we do know.
But I think
Well,
that the
she's
2020
thinking
has
we
to
did
be lowered by
800
800.
She's thinking 800, that
800.
already went
800 was already transferred from the general to the park in July.
in July.
I just found it just now.
In July?
Yeah,
Hmm.
so I think that, I would imagine, being an even $800, I would expect that that's
That's for the
pavilion
rentals.
rental stuff.
If I remember correctly, look in your minutes.
Was it $800 for the total deposit, or was it $800 of the 100 that they get?
That I can't be
See, that's, we
sure.
better be sure what.
I would imagine that, I believe that what had been done previously was that they were transferring, yeah, I don't know.
We gotta get that figured out.
Yeah, I have no idea
Yeah.
what they were doing, if you know.
in
But
July.
we'll look at what those are. If there's
Honey
any
did
names
that.
attached, we'll be able to tell.
She wanted to do all those transfers in the middle of the summer, each month. So that's where that came in from. You guys approved it, it's in your minutes, or it should be.
I don't know. We'll see what we can find.
Okay.
I'll see what I can find for July. So like when somebody rents a rental, I'll tell you my process. So when somebody rents the hall, a pavilion, then I write a receipt with their name on it and the monies. And then it also, when it gets deposited, then there's a deposit that goes with that. So we know whose money it is, where it is. So we can keep tabs on those. We're supposed to write a receipt every time we take in monies for that, So, but I couldn't find any book with those receipts. I couldn't find anything like that reflected that they wrote those things down. So the book that I got for receipts had one in for this year and nothing until back in the year 19.
Was it in
So
the
I
book
don't
with the
know where those
contract?
receipt books are. I went through all the receipt books that I have in the box. Apparently they weren't writing receipts for so if you rent the hall, the receipts come in triplicate, so I give her one, I give him one, she can give the one to use because you're the one who should get a receipt for your money. So I can't
I
tell you.
think we gotta do some work here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you should have a check number or cash or whatever on each contract too, don't you?
I write it on all of them.
Okay,
That
so
I
then
have
you would
on
have a
my,
record.
and I have all of that.
Yeah.
We have all of that from April,
Mhm.
but I don't know anything else before that.
Or what about the contracts before that? They were all in the same book.
There were none. Except, January? No, there wasn't even, there was two in January
I'm
last
talking
year.
about like for the year before, they should have
And
all been,
21,
they were all in there.
and 22, I'm talking about 22.
Okay,
January, there were 2 rentals, and that's all I had. And then except for those that started later on,
right,
yeah.
okay.
So the checks were all written on there, the numbers and what have you, so. Anyway. I don't understand that transfer in the summer. Anyway, we can look at that. Go from there. Okay, move on.
Good, Donna, or anything else?
Nope, I don't have.
All right, John, Lori, for fire department purchase orders.
So for the fire department purchase orders, we can only purchase things up to $250 right now without a purchase order. Anything $250 or over has to have a purchase order.
Funds transfer.
It's hard for us to fix our equipment and conduct our business because we had a battery go bad on the engine. That's a $270 battery. Technically, I couldn't buy that without the purchase order. So what I would like to see is the board approve us to go up to $2,000 purchase order with board approval. That will give us some leeway to fix our equipment in a timely manner to make sure it's up and running for us. It'll also give us some leeway to help get some other things coming in that we need. I'm not against purchase orders, just the dollar amount for the purchase order is relatively low. And I would like to see a little bit higher so we can at least fix our equipment in a timely manner, rather than waiting for John to do a PO and then catch up with Rod to get him to sign it, or whoever has to sign it now.
Well, it's in our ordinance that the fire department can go up to $1,000.
Right,
Can spend up to $1,000. So,
I guess I'd be okay with $1,000 too. It's just gonna give us leeway where we can fix our equipment without having to wait for a purchase order. And some of the parts are more than $1,000 that we're gonna have to order to get in. So I mean, it's up to you guys, but I would like to see that dollar amount increased so we can at least fix our stuff.
I don't know how with increasing it. I don't know about 2,000.
That'd be 3,000, yeah. This, I'd say that. And see how that goes. I mean, I don't know how many repairs and stuff you have.
A lot.
I get it, but also kids, yeah. I mean, if that's there already.
Can we try it up to 1,000?
I'm sorry?
Can we
Let's
try
get-
it?
let's do that, and then if
If it's not
there's a
working for you,
problem,
So she could email that you need to purchase order.
Yeah, no, I'm
You
fine
could
with
fill
that.
it out,
It's just the
send it to Rod
$250 wasn't
within,
giving
what,
us
10
what we
minutes?
needed to get our equipment fixed, like the new battery that was $270. And if I'd have waited for a PO and someone to sign it, it would have been down for at least 2 weeks, not be able to start. So
I
that's-
think John and Rod can, get those purchase orders out a whole lot quicker than 2 weeks. It takes about 10 minutes.
She said a couple days.
a couple days, because we found it while we were training at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. Am I gonna expect John to write that PO that very minute, and then round somebody up to sign it that very minute to go take care of this? I can't
Well, if
expect
it's an
that.
emergency, yes, they should be available for an emergency situation.
Mr. Bornmark?
Yes.
Purchase orders are a way of tracking what your expenses are,
Yeah.
okay? Now, if it's an emergency, you can fill out a purchase order, go get that piece of equipment that you need, Lauren. The purchase order can be signed after that piece of equipment's fixed, as long as it's documented. It doesn't have to be signed before you go get it. Approval's nice, but if it's an emergency, you don't need to get it signed.
It was under my understanding that I had to have it signed before I could purchase anything. That's the way I understood it.
If it's an emergency, no.
That's why I'm
Yeah,
asking if we
yeah,
can
Yeah,
bump it to 1,000 so we can at least get,
well, let's just do that.
And then it comes, what's an emergency?
Right.
That's pretty vague too. So,
Let's just increase it.
I'd like, yeah. And if it doesn't work out, then we revisit.
Good. Yeah, I'll make a motion to raise the minimum amount of the purchase order to $1,000 for emergency, or for all situations for the fire department.
I second it.
A motion and a second to approve to go up to $1,000 for purchase orders for the fire department. I will be abstaining for this one also, for dealing with finances for the fire department. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I got a question. How, you said up to $1,000, how often can you do that? Then is it 30 times a week, or what? Is there a number that, a ceiling on it? I mean, $1,000?
because right now, anytime the fire department spends $1,000 or more, we have to come to the board for approval. So I can spend up to $999 without board approval,
How often? As many times as you want.
as far as I know.
Sky's the limit.
As far as I know, yeah.
Lovely.
As long as you know what your,
Right.
you're aware of what your
Yep.
balances are.
Yep, I know what my budget is.
where you are.
I know what I
Budget that
can
somebody
and
has
can't
in
spend.
the past.
Yeah.
They'll break it
You have a
down,
budget.
it goes on
Right.
a lot of
You have a budget where you're, yeah,
Absolutely.
so, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a question. Can you read back that motion?
Raise purchase order, or raise the purchase order required for purchases over $1,000.
Up to 1,000.
No purchase orders required for up to $1,000. $1,000 or more purchase orders required. So raise the limit.
Because the statement, the motion that was made was a minimum, was the $1,000. It should be a maximum of $1,000.
Maximum.
Yes.
You're correct.
raise
A maximum
the maximum.
of 1,000.
But no limit on the number of times, or, yeah, the number of times you can hit 1,000 pounds, or do 1,000, whatever.
So raise the maximum purchase limit.
Without a purchase order.
Raise the maximum. Raise the maximum purchase limit without a purchase order to $1,000.
Don't you have to determine how often, or say something about that, so it isn't just 1,000 and oh, now you can't spend any more?
Well, that's not the case.
It would be individual, like, okay, if I.
For individual.
Right, if I need to order
Yeah.
a set of turnout gear,
I'm just saying,
that's,
maybe you should put that in there. So it's written. With clarity, no?
I think that money's,
I think it money's it too much.
Well, how often do you order this turnout gear?
Every year.
Pardon me?
Every year, because we have turnout gear that expires.
And what's the cost on it?
I don't have it in front of me, but I think
Just
it's
rough, I mean, hold it down to nothing,
close
it's
to
a rough number.
2,000 maybe.
It times how many you got over there?
Well, we don't do everybody all at once. We go through the gear, and whoever has the oldest gear are the ones who get the new gear that year.
Don't they expire in 10
I'm really
years,
green
Lori?
on this.
What's that?
Don't they expire in 10 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Turnout gear is only good for 10 years.
What wears out on it? I have no idea what you're talking about when you say turnout gear, I guess the coats or whatever the hell.
The coats,
What wears out on it?
the fabric, the fire protection portion of it,
From doing what?
being in fires, training with them, wearing them,
AIDS and so, George.
Yep. being exposed to stuff.
I'll bet you that foam, that'll do you.
Well, we don't have any more of that foam in the fire station. That foam is all gone. The DNR got a grant.
So you still have you got the pump though, right? That
Right,
you're holding up for them.
we have Class A foam and we have Class B foam, but we do not have any of the foam that has the PFAS in it.
Well, mark my word, that somewhere down the line,
well, we're not.
they are going to tell you that stuff is hazardous to your health, and there'll be tort lawyers all over the place, advertising on TV. If you disturb the fire department and it's the Class B, Class A foam, you might have cancer.
Probably will at some
Oh, yeah,
point, but right
absolutely.
now I have everything in the station that doesn't have
Excuse me,
PFAS in
let's
it.
get back to the topic.
Get back.
So, John, you're gonna read that again and then we'll change that to maximum instead of minimum.
So I have Dan made the motion to raise the maximum purchase limit without a purchase order to $1,000, and Carolyn seconded.
Now is there any more
Any more
discussion?
discussion, yes? Since there's no more discussion, I'm going to abstain because it's financial for the fire department. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Nay.
One nay?
No nays.
Okay. All ayes, no nays, one abstention.
Yes.
Thank you.
Who had the funds? Is that you, Don, or is that John?
So I was told to put this on here. I don't know what it is. Last year, it looks like it took place in March. So if that helps anything.
I don't know if they designated it in March, but they had last year in their checking, they had $236,731.16. And then in January, they transferred the Fall Fest funds for the expenses back to the checking account, and that was $18,875.44.
This was brought up because, one, you've got that ARPA money, which you were planning to designate for highway. That's been kind of a discussion, you haven't done it yet. So
Well, they did that a year ago already, they designated that
we didn't
for,
even get 100,000 until this year, so it couldn't have been all of it. So the ARPA money that's in this account now should be designated. And then And then whatever's left in your general checking account, we've got to transfer, the only thing I know of is that transfer, we're going to straighten that out. But you could do, you know, 400,000 plus that other one, all to highway, so you know where it's gonna be spent. He's gotta do payroll, he had like 10,000 or so left in general to do that parks thing, which could be around 2, plus he has to do payroll. And I don't know what else he's got coming up, but a few things, possibly. Who knows how much it snows and what that's going to be.
So 10, approximately 10 for payroll.
Well, not payroll, just general expenses.
No, general, just everything in general.
That's in general, but the
Okay.
rest of it and the ARPA money should be, you, in budget time, talked about designating those monies for capital improvement for highway. Am I correct? Like, that's what you wanted to
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
So that you had your monies for man, or whatever you're going to do. That doesn't mean if your plow truck completely died and you had to buy something, you couldn't do it, you could change it again, but at least it's in the highway category.
So I would like some guidance, if there's a motion made, I would like some guidance as to what you want me to physically or digitally do, other than recording it in the minutes. If it's going to be, if you would like me to increase the road budget, I think that that's gonna cause a problem, because there's not gonna be any offsetting revenue.
You can't put that in the
Because the
budget.
revenue is coming in, the revenue is already coming in here, we've got the taxes, whatever. But the ARPA money, for example, was revenue last year and the year before. So if you want me to put it in as an expense, I think it's gonna look strange. I'm learning this whole situation, so, you know.
We never actually moved the monies. It's just so that your public and the board knows that, the highway people know that you're going to use those monies for that purpose. It's just
A capital outlay.
correct. It's not that you're actually moving any monies or putting it in that budget. You just know that these leftover monies, that's where they're going.
You could put it into a savings account or a CD. Then you know exactly where it is.
You could and designate highway. We used to do that. I don't have any clue what you've been doing. We used to put it in for a 1-year or 6-month CDs. We could do that. Or money market, whatever, you know, if it's more money, interest money, so we could earn a little money. That's the way the old board used to do it. I don't know what you've been doing recently. But then it sits there. He doesn't actually put it in there. You just know you have a CD for that purpose.
That's the way to go.
If you wish, you could do it that way.
So if you're interested, let's see, this one, the tax savings account, it earned about $30 in interest last month. So,
That's a pretty low rate though for the, just leaving it in there. I think your CD is probably gonna run you about double that if you think it's worth it.
We should be able to do at least 6 months before we need to
Yeah.
get those funds.
I would say that would be
Yes.
the max.
Right, the max.
Right. I would agree.
I need to put
So,
it someplace.
We could do, literally, we could do the 400,000
Plus the
plus
other
the
one.
220.
Mhm.
You want me to make one?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to move 400,000 from the reconciled checking account balance plus the ARPA funds of $220,230.43 into a 6-month CD, you know, at the best rate that we can find, for a total of $620,230.43.
When I do that, because I'll go a couple places and see there's other CDs, there'll be a few dollars maybe difference, more, because there'll be a little interest on that ARPA money as it
Right.
sits.
Yep.
So that isn't exactly the number, there'll be a little bit more, just so you know that.
you want me to? Okay, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to move the money possibly into the CDs. One question that I have is the reason that that money was put into the savings account originally though was to keep it separate from everything else, so that when we spent that money, that we knew we had to abide on that money with all the ARPA stipulations in that grant. And so if we were gonna do a CD, maybe the thing to do is we can put them both in the CDs, but still keep it separate, so that when we tap that money, we know that that's not blended together, and then now we,
Yeah.
that'd be my only concern.
Yeah, because if
Yeah,
the
that
state
makes
ever audits that, you gotta have documentation for everything for the ARPA funds. Completely separate.
Yeah. So I think that that would make it easier
Yep.
for your tracking of the money and,
You wanted 2 CDs.
Yeah, right.
2
I'll-
CDs would be the cleanest. And
Yes.
Yeah, I'll revise my motion to make the $400,000 from the reconciled checking account balance into a CD, and then separately do the ARPA funds of $220,230.43 also into a CD.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on that?
So is that roughly 11,000 gonna be enough to do what you need to do?
we're already receiving monies for
Okay,
this year.
so you're gonna be fine with
The
that?
same percentage, you asked for 541,000 and change. So when this gets calculated, if they get half, we get half. So you already have that much money from your tax money already to use. Plus, January 1, we should have gotten transportation aids
And shared revenue.
and shared revenue stuff comes in. Yeah, so we've got all that to your first quarter. So you've got already part of your budget already collected. We only, what this one is just through December 31st. There's no digest yet on January.
So a motion and a second to move that money over to 2 separate CDs. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. Motion approved.
I have a question. What are you designating that money for? You put it into CDs, but what are you designating it to?
Man Road.
All of it?
Highway.
Highway. No, not all of
Highway.
it. Yeah, highway.
You need a
Bulk of the
motion for
funds.
that.
Someone like to make a motion to,
I make a motion to adjourn.
You need a motion to designate that money, because you haven't
thought we
yet.
just-
She put it in CDs.
You put it in CDs, but you didn't
yeah, we didn't
designate it.
say.
We didn't.
Oh.
You didn't
Right.
talk
We didn't
about it being
designate.
in highway. I believe everybody knows that's what you're gonna do with it, but you didn't specify the
Wasn't
word
in
for
the-
highway.
Okay.
Right,
All right.
so I didn't.
Okay,
So just,
you're making that motion to designate it into.
Yeah.
Do it right.
I'll make a motion to revise my motion to add,
Second.
to make the 2 CDs, to designate those for the highway department.
okay.
Second?
So I have a motion.
The
I have a
second.
second. Is there any further discussion? Since there's no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. Ayes have it.
Now I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those against? Ayes have it. We're adjourned.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Tom, you don't second that? Adjournment? Oh, Dan.
Aye.
You drive by, so you